Welcome to the Talk to People podcast. And, guys, I'm usually, I don't know, it just feels like a Monday. Help me out.
It is a Monday. Today's Monday.
Definitely is. It's awful.
What's wrong with Monday?
Even you guys.
You get the Monday blues?
You guys even aren't, I don't know. Mondays typically start off kind of rough. Like, I got to get all of this together because Sundays are usually pretty good. I mean, do you guys rest on Sunday?
No, I work.
Okay.
I do take a nap, though.
I do.
A good nap
naps are
is always
nice.
good.
Gavin, you rest on Sunday?
It depends. Some weeks are awful. I'm usually catching up on homework because it's all due on Sunday, but it depends.
So you're a procrastinator.
Some weeks, it kind of just depends on the assignment.
Well, my Sundays, I do enjoy. Last Sunday, though, it was a 7 to 5 in the heat. I had a lot of yard work.
That does not sound fun.
Well, it hits me then this morning, and I get rejuvenated though. In one way, hey guys, how do I get rejuvenated? You guys have been around me enough.
McDonald's
like to
coffee.
talk to people.
I do. Look at this. I mean, I'm getting more excited to think. We could go to Never Never Land, or I don't like Never Never. Never Never is like not positive. Land of Make Believe. I don't. That's been used. We got to come up with a new name. What about Always Always? That would be more my personality, right? Always Always Land. Let's go to Always Always Land.
Always Land.
That's interesting. All right.
Let's go with it.
Yeah, let's try that on a Monday. We're just going to head out into Always Always Land.
You just got to remember.
Well, I know of a couple of places I could go. It's kind of active. They're both kind of active. Let's just go try and see who we run into.
Talk to.
In Always Always Land. So I get the cool job of being able to meet people all over town, and I met Kelly Beck. And Kelly just returned home with 5 kids who competed, and some even won at Nationals.
Yes.
Kelly, first of all, tell us where we are and what this place is.
Well, we are in Shawnee, Oklahoma. We are zero gravity, trampoline and tumbling, and competitive chair. We train athletes, but we also train these kids to be just better people in general.
So how long have you been doing this, Kelly?
I've been doing it 24 years, and I actually just got a plaque for that, so makes me feel good. I was 19 when I started,
okay.
So it's been a long haul, but I love it just as much as the first day I started.
Well, so tell us about your successful gymnast at the recent national meet. Go ahead.
We had 4 first place overall champions. There was 479 kids up in, it was Iowa, Des Moines, Iowa. And we traveled all the way up there for a national competition. We do have 2 kids on the national TNT team, which is pretty stinking awesome. It's like one of those things that an athlete just strives for. So these kids are coming from all over the nation to compete against kids from all over the United States. So some of my kids had flights of 34 to 74 other athletes. So what you've seen on the podium is not what you see. You see there's
people,
6 or more flights that they have. So it's kind of a big deal.
And so your team with 5 at that national meet. You guys, though, are all from the Shawnee area, correct?
The majority are from the Shawnee area, but we have some from other locations as well, but the majority are from the Shawnee area.
So in your 24 years, you've gathered knowledge. What makes for a successful gymnast?
Really, the successful gymnast, what creates a successful gymnast is vision. Is being able to actually see what you're doing before you actually do it. I was telling some of my athletes over there, their pass starts at the top of the mat and it ends at the top of the mat. Their body should just be robotic going through that motion.
Wow.
So tumbling is not something that's natural. So your brain was not designed to tumble. Your brain was actually designed to stop your body from flipping backwards. It's very unnatural, and it's not good for you, and it's not healthy. So you have this thing in the back of your brain that says, danger, stop. And actually, you've probably seen that a couple times with some of the athletes. We have to develop a relationship with them, a trust, I guess, just to keep them safe. And they know that we're gonna dive bomb for them no matter what in order to get the skills. So
that you've touched on what makes for a successful gym, because that's where I was gonna go next. Is we're right here in the heart of Shawnee, right off of Main Street, and this successful gym has been in operation for 5 years at this location, which is so cool.
Yes.
What makes for a successful gym? Why are you guys successful?
I believe that we are family. Like, I am connected to each and every one of these kids, and we come in here and we have the time of our life. I mean, we could have the worst day in the world, and we could come in here and we leave it at the door. So when we come in here, like, everything just melts away, everything goes away.
Wow.
So, and then after the athletes are going through everything, so we have like proprioceptive, vestibular, tactile input that we're putting on the floor. So every type of anxiety that a kid could have throughout the day goes away. And it's all through the brain. It's all muscle memory, and it's all through like adrenal fatigue through sensory perceptors.
So obviously you've had a background in gymnastics. What brought you to gymnastics?
Well, I came from a really hard place, and I actually used gymnastics and power tumbling and trampoline to kind of disconnect and engage from my environment. So it wasn't on purpose, but I was registered in like a dance company that offered tumbling, and I just went home one day and just started flipping backwards. Thankfully, Kathy Bartholomew out of Colorado helped me fix that just a little bit. But it's kind of a thing that just made me forget about life. Like, it's one of those things that just kind of helps me check out.
And so that's what you're talking about in the sense of with your gymnasts.
Yes.
It starts at the top and it ends at the top, and you want to get your body moving in the right direction and doing things actually that it doesn't want to do.
Yes, actually, I'm very comfortable making you uncomfortable. I want you to feel very uncomfortable. And the whole thing is we have to build a relationship off of that. And a good story that I have is I had an athlete that she kept mental blocking, and like her body was like, no, I'm not going back. And I kept saying, you know, I'm here. You can't see me, you can't feel me, but you have to know, like, I'm right here. Like, my hand is right here. You just have to trust that. And all of a sudden, I kind of just got this thing, and it was kind of a God thing where God was saying, you know what, that's what I need you to do. I need you, Kelly, to trust me. But from there, I kind of use that, and I kind of have realized like it's a trustful relationship that's been built. And from there, like the connection piece that I had, the sensory release, that's what made me me. Like ADHD, a lot of people think like it's a disorder. I believe that ADHD is something that is actually a coping mechanism that kids use just to kind of check out. Well, guess what? This is the perfect place for an ADHD kid and an ADHD adult. But here's the thing, is this is a perfect place to also just feel at home.
Wow, so this is kind of a ministry for you, is what it feels like.
Yes. It is.
And that has been producing champions, some that we just were able to experience not long ago at the national meet. Do you take people? Do you take more kids? Let's do your best invite now that we're talking to everybody.
So our theme this year is like win all day. So win all day is not about winning like in general. Like, I want my kids to be at the top of the podium as much as I want them to be on the bottom of the podium. I want kids that like have a drive for just making themselves better all the time. If you are one of those kids, and I think we all are, this is the place for you. If you want to feel welcome, comfortable and invited, and just want to get some extra energy out, this is the place.
And if you just comment below and say, hey, I want to know more about this place, we will PM you with all of the details that you need to be able to be a part of this gym.
Yeah,
Let's win
thank
all
you.
day, Kelly Beck.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. That was great.
What's going on, guys?
Hey, not much.
Hey, what's up, Danny?
So, one club. Are you coaching again today, Ricks?
Oh yeah, giving him a little pep talk today.
President.
Relax the forearms.
Sporting some good shoes, man. Check those
Yeah,
out.
man. Got them from Played Against Sports. You like them?
I like those a lot. Looks like something I might wear.
Love
The
them.
shirt really makes it.
Well, thank you.
So, can I hit with you?
Yeah, come on ahead.
Jump in.
All right. Let me do this. So, the YMCA golf tournament's coming up, right?
It is October 9th.
You the president over there now?
I sure am.
That is awesome.
I love it.
How long have you been doing the golf tournament, Seth?
This will be our third year.
Dave, I remember a few years ago you came up to me, you wanted to get involved, you needed the Elks to get involved. What are you guys doing with the golf tournament?
Well, we are donating the golf course to the YMCA, so there's no cost there, and we're donating the golf carts and a meal for lunch.
So, Seth, Dave's making your job easy.
Hey, he's my rock, man. I've got a dream team around me.
Yes?
So I love it.
Well, you know, that's kind of good because you kind of live in a dream, my man. You kinda live in a dream.
They say you look good, you feel good, you do good.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
Well, with your lawn care business, that's your motto, I know. Look
Absolutely.
good, feel good, do good.
Absolutely.
All right, here we go. Dave, I need your, you can tell me when oh man, I don't know if we could get any better than that.
That's about as good as you can hit right there, Danny. Good shot.
Seth, where did I take your ball?
Yes, but I don't think I could have done any better, so we're going to play it.
Well, if I had another ball, I think, here you go.
Oh, man.
I carry the best. Here you go.
Okay.
How about that? Now, when is the YMCA tournament?
October 9th.
And how do people get
it's on
involved
Monday.
with it?
How do they get involved with it?
Well, you got to hit the ball first.
Oh, I got to hit the ball first?
Hit the ball.
It's not my
Dave, How do
club.
people get involved with the tournament?
Well, they can sign up through the YMCA. They have forms at their temporary location at OBU, and we've got forms here at the pro shop at the Shawnee Elks.
I think we're going to hit your ball.
Let's do it.
I'll grab my putter.
Puddle.
Yeah, because mine is in a puddle. Seth, talk a little bit about the YMCA for me. Why do I want to be a part of the golf tournament this year?
The YMCA, for what all we do for the community, youth sports is a big one. Those that don't know, David and I have come up with a plan, and we have a vision. And our vision is that in the next 3 to 5 years, this golf tournament will be so big that no child goes up there and plays a sport and pays for it. We want every child in this town to walk up to that front desk and get to play sport for free. That's what's driving us, and that's what's driving this tournament, and that's what we feel in our hearts, and that's our goal here.
That is huge. I think that great things come from destruction, and what that transpired April 19th at that YMCA, that is like a very good illustration of the devastation that came through our community.
Absolutely.
And you're telling me now from that, you want every kid's sports fees to be paid
Absolutely.
in 5 years?
Absolutely we do.
David, is that even possible?
I think it's possible with the Elks getting involved with the Y and the community getting behind it. I think we can get to a point where every kid in this community that wants to get up there and be active can do it without worrying about money.
That is freaking great. I think I'm going to drain this putt. I'm pumped.
Let's do it.
So, and Dave, you're for hire, right? For more lessons about this?
Sure.
All right, here we go. Oh, yeah.
Oh,
That's my Tiger Woods.
Welcome to our world.
That's my Tiger Woods.
welcome to our world.
Okay, buddy, it's your putt
Well,
right there.
let me use my putter, can I?
Dang it. Well, that way, look at that. He's got a cover and everything.
Oh, I know. He's a pretty good golfer.
Dave, your heart for this has really helped the community be able to amplify.
Oh!
I'm going to blame it on talking in my backstroke.
I was wondering if we were going to get there. But to amplify the ability, I better come over here because of the sun. But amplify the ability for our community to really impact kids through the YMCA.
Right.
And that's your heart from the Elks.
Yeah, and that's one of the areas that we focus on our charities is kids is one of the tenets that we focus on. So this working with the Y is really good for the Elks from our standpoint to give back to the community. And you know, with the tornado affecting the Y and stuff, we were able to open up our building so they could hold their aerobics classes. We've opened up our pool for their water aerobics and for their swim lessons at no charge. So because Elks really want to give back to the Shawnee community.
You are doing it, and through the YMCA, Seth, share a little bit with the audience right there. I brought a camera with me.
Okay.
A little bit with the audience right there about your golf tournament, when it is, how they become involved, and invite them out.
Okay. Tournament is October 9th. How do they get involved? They can get involved through social media. They can reach out to myself, our CEO, Mike Jobe. We've got a large committee of people, including David Ricks. Anybody out here at the Elks Lodge can answer most all questions regarding the golf tournament. So between social media and the YMCA and the Elks Lodge, we've got all involvement covered. We're always looking for whole sponsorships. We're always looking for raffle items and prizes to give out to make this a big deal. Also this year we have the sports animal coming, doing a live feed with Mark Rogers from I think it's 12 to 2 or 11 to 2, excuse me. So this is a big event. This is becoming a big tournament. Last year we raised a lot of money that's nationally known throughout the YMCA's. We were up there with the Dallas and the Wichitas. This tournament has become big and it's become very special. And this community's greater for it.
And to be involved, we also need, I believe, golf carts. If you have extra golf carts.
If you're available to volunteer your golf cart, loan it out for that day, that would be great. Also, he didn't bring up, we are having a hole-in-one prize for $50,000. So if that's an incentive to people to come out and play in the tournament.
I better practice my putting if I only want a one putt for $50,000.
You have to sink it off the tee box.
Oh.
Yeah.
Can I pick my tee box?
You cannot. We've picked it for y'all.
Okay. 50 grand is quite a prize. YMCA again coming through.
Absolutely.
Clutch. Great memories from the Elks Club growing
definitely.
up. Been in this community almost as long as the YMCA.
Wow.
You guys, Dave, make him better. Make him better.
We're making both each other better.
I have to say thank you to Bank First Insurance with Kyle Roseburn and Aaron Caps for doing the $50,000 hole-in-one for us. Again, it's just it just gives you an idea of the generosity out there people are providing for us.
Yes, that would be, those are two great guys, Aaron and Kyle.
Absolutely.
That's for sure.
Absolutely.
Well, I got to get back to the studio. I had time for one hole, and I'm glad that I got to run into you guys.
Well, glad to see you, Danny.
Yes! That's what talking to people does to you guys. It changes your Monday right there. How about those shorts that Seth was wearing, man? The shirt and the shorts actually matched.
I was actually looking at the shoe.
I was too. I'm pretty
Feel
sure
like
I
I've
saw
seen
those
those.
a couple weeks ago.
Totally saw those.
Well, I hope that Play It Again Sports made a little bit of money because they're a good family business. I wanted to support them, and I thought those were pretty cool shoes when I bought them. That is just a trip that Seth had those on, though, to match that cool outfit. In fact, maybe it was the shoes that stood out the best on that outfit.
I don't know. That shirt was pretty wild. I like the shirt. I couldn't pull that off, though.
It really was. What about the Elks stepping up and helping the YMCA like that?
I mean, the biggest thing that I liked about that was when they talked about the kids not having to pay. Like, they're trying to get to the point that all you do is the kid shows up and signs up.
Yeah.
And I know that's a relief because, like, with me with 5 kids, when you walk to, you want to, like, all the kids want to be in something. 5 kids is a lot.
Yeah. It really is. And you know, I mean, we're taught that without vision, the people perish. They're really spreading a vision there, and it blew my mind. I'm with you, Jared, that that almost seems over the top. But then when you break it down, what is being able to provide, sports for families throughout our community, and all of the positive that just being in that competitive environment helps you to be able to progress positively in life from both the kids and the families side. Gavin, you do a lot with us with sports, and I'm interested to know, were you ever involved in youth sports activities as you grew up?
I played Little League when I was little, and I figured out that I just wasn't athletic enough. I didn't really care enough. I played T-ball, and I'd get stuck. They'd put me out in outfield. I'm like, no one hits a ball out there, so I'm out there picking flowers.
That's where they put people like you.
Yeah. But since nothing would happen, I'm not going to stand there and just watch this kid hit. So I ended up picking flowers. And
I have picked some pretty nice daisies in baseball when I was in Little League. Yep.
But just the discipline of being out there, and honestly, the joy that it brings parents as well, just to have their kids there. The families get to come together. I know as a grandparent, we love to go to the grandkids games. Of course, we went to our own kids games. It got us active in the community. So I agree, Jared. That kind of blows me away. The YMCA, the vision from these guys who are doing the golf tournament. And these guys are volunteers. They have nothing really to do with the YMCA other than volunteering their time. Dave brought the Elks into the mix, and Seth is president of their board of directors this year. He's served for 4 years so far, I believe, on their board. And they just have a big vision, and that makes it cool for the community to be able to follow. What about, though, Kelly Beck over there in her gymnasium in fact, guys, that gymnasium is inside Uplift Mentoring right off of Main Street there by the community market. What a great marriage that is, to have kids coming into Uplift Mentoring like that and having something like Kelly Beck to be able to work with.
Absolutely. She seemed great. And I love what Uplift Mentoring does over there. And then Daniel Matthews over there at Community Market. I mean, it's just a great area over there. It really is.
I mean, the biggest thing with this, and even with the Y, is when you're in competitive stuff like that. Even with her, I mean, she had 5. How many were there that for this?
Well, she had 5 qualify for nationals. She services many more than that throughout the week. I mean, in fact, when I ran into her and she told me, she said, she kind of went through her days as they progressed through the week, because she's over there 5, maybe even 6 days a week. Different levels practice at different time, and the levels are the levels of expertise.
Well, what I was going to say was the whole point of gymnastics and even the golf and the sports for kids for the Y, and even band, because I was a band nerd.
Of course you were.
I was. Sports wasn't ever my thing, so I did band, and I was good at that. But the whole point is there's those good coaches and the mentoring that happens with that, talking about Uplift Mentoring, that can propel a kid through their entire life. And I think that discipline and that being able to open up to somebody, all that stuff is good.
I agree, man. And, this next guest that we have coming in, that's what the jersey is about. Had to change it up a little bit. And we are going back. And now, one of my favorite players from that 2003 team, I grew up competitively, actually, with his old man. He's probably my age now, but of course I'm talking about Eric Combs. Eric, man, thank you, first of all, for taking the time to do this. What a pleasure it is to be able to catch up with you again.
You bet, Daniel. I'm so glad your company has done so well, and it really means a lot to the folks that are about my age, because it started right about that time. So we've sort of grown up with it over the years.
Yeah, actually, you were the first class, man. You were a junior in that state championship run, and I'm kind of a God guy in the sense of I think he speaks to our heart and different things. And Whitson basically had said, Shaughnessy, you need to do this. And after 3 years, of trying to set him up elsewhere, I just kind of felt, okay, we got to start. And you guys go on and win that state championship. What a gift that was from you, Eric Combs, to Shawnee CTV.
I remember when you were black and white, Daniel, and you guys were on, I think, channel 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And it was on replay. We didn't have, yeah, there you go, 99. There you go. We didn't have YouTube. We didn't have all that stuff back then. So we would click during the week to see when the replay was coming on, but it was black and white at the time. And you just had to kind of get lucky and make sure it was on.
That's right. Well, and you went on, talk a little bit about you. After your graduation, you went on to OU, you were successful there, got into law school, but then you decided to venture away and do some fun stuff too. Tell a little bit about that.
Yeah, I went to OU for undergrad. Kind of a funny story. My senior year of high school, Carter obviously and Brent had left. They went to Broken Arrow, and we went on. But then about February, I think, of our senior years, after we both had played, our senior years out, Carter says, hey, I'm calling to let you know I'm walking on at OU. And I said, well, Carter, I was calling to tell you the same thing. So fate would have it, we were brought back together at OU. And I played 1 year there. He kept going. I went on to journalism school and law school, and really enjoyed that. Had a good time over there. Lived in Norman for 7 years. Spent a little time doing some journalism and broadcasting. Worked for you a little bit here or there when I was in law school. Worked for NFL Films in New Jersey. Worked for Channel 4 in Oklahoma City. Worked for KSBI for a time that was doing high school sports, and got to get back into football for a little bit, sort of on the sideline. And then came back after law school and worked in sports administration for a bit, passed the bar exam, and been practicing law ever since, and here I am in the office.
Hey, man, congratulations. First of all, it sounds like a fun time, but I want to talk about another fun time that Brent had brought up. He brought up coming back. It would have been your senior year, and, we were all devastated when Brent was like, I'm leaving. I'm going to the big time, I was like, the big time's right here. We just won it. But then he pointed to Billy Brown, and he said, now, this is your man. And I said, yeah, but Carter's going away as well. Who's going to be there? And he said, this is your man. And that was my introduction to Tucker Brown. Brent comes back, and that is one of the most memorable games of my career, watching you guys go off on Carl Albert. And, that year you were a record-setting receiver for us on the outside. Anywhere that Tucker threw the ball around Eric Combs, Eric was going to come down. Talk a little bit about the importance of that, the year after the state championship and being able to accomplish what you'd accomplished.
We were really lucky because I was in 8th grade when the Whitsons moved to Shawnee, and that was just really good timing. Got lucky that they changed really the football program and the athletic program altogether. Brent left. It was not the most surprising thing because when you have success like that, people are going to be coming after you. Carter obviously went with him. It made sense for him to have those opportunities. And so for us, we got lucky again. Lightning struck twice because we had not only a great coach already there in Billy, who was a head coach prior to coming to Shawnee, but we had Tucker for me personally. So I always joke with Carter that, if he had stayed, I might have caught 20 passes, but because Tucker was there, I caught 50 plus. So it was lucky for us. And I think it set a tone for the program going forward for all those years that Billy remained there, that I really think are influenced by both Billy and Brent in those 15, 20 years that they were there. It was just a really fun time to be a part of the program. And the Whitson influence has certainly stayed with us, my senior class, because we were all kids that kind of grew up in football with the Whitsons and how things were done. And so we were extremely fortunate to have not only Billy as a coach, because he's incredible, he's unbelievable, his X's and O's knowledge and skill is unmatched, but Tucker as well. And Tucker was awesome. And we're friends today as well. He's up in this area and see each other quite a bit. And we're just really fortunate to have what we had laid out in front of us when we went to high school at Shawnee.
Well, I'm telling you right now, one of our desires and one of our plans is to bring all of you great guys back here to Shawnee. You guys are all right around each other. I just want to take the whole clan and bring you all back. That's for sure. Make us all better. Hey, talk a little bit about 2003 and what you remember most. When I say 2003 state championship, go, Eric Combs. Talk a little bit about that.
When I listened to Brent Whitson's interview on this podcast, I thought he made a really good point. That class before that graduated in 2003, that had played the 2002 season, was more talented and had kind of built the program from scratch. They were what I kind of refer to as program definers. They were the ones who showed us how to work in the weight room and how to work on the practice field. And it was stunning to me as a sophomore standing on the sidelines when we lost that game against Claremore in the first round, for that team to have that kind of talent to get to that point. So for us, we knew we had built the program pretty well, but there were so many unanswered questions about what that team was going to be. New quarterback with Carter taking over for his brother, new receivers, a lot of new guys on defense, totally new offensive line almost. So there was a lot of just unanswered questions. I was stepping into a starting role on defense. There were others that were doing the same. So it was kind of like, can we match that or can we take it past that? And even through week 7, when we went to Tulsa East Central and they beat us up pretty good, I think 35-7 in week 7, we were 4-3, and it was kind of doing one of those make or break deals. That was the kind of click. I think after the game, we're on that field, and it was sort of the speech that Brent gave about, where are we going to go from here was pretty impactful, and we didn't lose another game from there. So that was, it takes a while. It was week 7 going into week 8, almost the end of the season before we really figured it out. And once we did, we got lucky with some matchups and played as good as we could play and came up with a gold ball.
You don't have that kind of success without chemistry. And you mentioned that you guys as juniors, kind of 8th grade, you started playing together, 9th grade, 10th grade, your junior year. Talk a little bit about chemistry, the special players that people may not know about on that team that really, solidified you guys as a unit.
I think a lot of it, too, was from a perspective of not just playing football, but also basketball and some of the other sports. I didn't get to play a lick of receiver that year because really Zach Wallace and Antoine Cudjoe were so good. I didn't need to play receiver. I was needed on the defensive side of the ball, sort of an outside linebacker safety type position that's more common today. But I was needed over there. And Antoine and Zach and I played basketball together, all from freshman year growing up. They were a year older, but we played on varsity together those years. So we developed some chemistry from a team standpoint that way. The offensive line had been together for a long time. They were mostly seniors with the exception, I think, of one who was a sophomore, Zach Howard, who was a really great player that went on to a lot of success after those years. And obviously with Carter coming in, he came in as an 8th grader, and he went to the Shawnee Middle School, and I went to Grove School, and Jason Bourbonnais went to South Rock Creek. So we had kids all over Pottawatomie County who, by 9th grade, were finally in the same spot. So once we all got to the same spot and got to develop and play all the sports together, basketball, baseball, all of that stuff, I think that's where it started. And by the time we got to be a varsity group with Carter as a junior, and then without Carter even after, there was a bond there that you just don't find too many places. And even in doing some coaching after college now, I don't see that a lot of places. I don't see these kids that have grown up together and they've played sports together growing up. They've gone to school together. They don't know each other as well by the time they're in high school. You just don't get that these days. So that's what's so special to me about Shawnee and these small communities in Oklahoma and the football specifically, is you just have this community feel to it with people who've known each other forever. And that was something that really made a difference for us because it created a lot of trust on the field. Well, that's something that I'm catching as a theme from all of you guys, is that you were close and you remain close to this day. A group of you still hang out. Do you think that part of that is because of the success of actually accomplishing such a goal as a state championship? Do you think that has kept you guys together? And if so, how? No doubt. I've still got a group text of guys. It's about 10 deep that we talk almost daily, jokes and whatnot. And it comes from those days and just how much we enjoyed being around each other. And we've all kind of gone our separate ways. And a lot of us are still in Oklahoma, but others are in Iowa and other places. So we get together as best we can. But that comes from, like, the way I see it, comes from playing sports back in those days. And every time we see each other, folks that haven't seen each other for a long time, it's like nothing's changed for the most part. So well, I love that, because I know there's probably some trash talking still going on, and I get to ask everybody to share a story that they might like to, that might be an inside story on a brother, or, do you have any trash talking to do, Eric? No, I don't have any trash talk, but I have a funny story that if I could point to someone else finally after all these years, that it's not my fault. I think it was the Ardmore game, the second go around at Owen Field. We had played well in the first half. We were up on them. And then we come out in the third quarter, and we had this 5 wide receiver formation where I got to play receiver. It was called Star. And so nobody had called it during the game. I'd always kind of listen for it when we were on offense because I'd be on the bench, but waiting to go back on defense. But occasionally you'd hear Star, and that meant 5 wide, and I'd go in at receiver. Well, I didn't hear it at halftime. We'd gone through all the halftime speech, all the discussions, talked to the defensive coaches, talked to the offensive coaches. Nobody said a word. And we're out there for, I think, the first play of the third quarter, first offensive play. And I look out on the field, and there's 10 guys, and they're all receivers plus Carter. And I'm like, something's missing. And sure enough, Brent's right next to me. And he looks over and goes, "Eric, what are you doing?" And I said, "Coach, you never said a word about it." Everybody else apparently heard it. I don't know. So I think he had to call a timeout on one of the first or second plays of our offense against Ardmore in the semis to burn a timeout because I apparently didn't hear Star formation. So I blame Coach Woodson. He didn't make it loud enough, didn't communicate with his players. But that was my fault.
I love that. And of course, in that second half, all of a sudden you were doing very well, but all of a sudden, and everybody has talked about this, Jermaine Gresham becomes like a viable receiver for some reason. And it's very hard to stop. What did that do for you as a defensive lineman? Were you blitzing a lot? Were you trying to get to that quarterback? How did it hit you when all of a sudden that receiver came out of nowhere and was making the plays that they started to make?
So we got fortunate the week before. Their star tailback, who played at Tulsa later on, broke his arm the week before. Oh. You can see it on film. Even the grainy film we watched by tape, you could see how bad it was. But he still showed up. But he had this giant wrap on his arm. There's no way he's playing. So their backup plays, and they run a sweep to me and Richard Sims' side. There's a great picture of it out there somewhere. And I run. I kind of get shoved by the guy, but I slap at it, and I get the ball out. I force a fumble. I think Richard recovered. And so that was with their backup tailback in the first or second quarters early, and that kind of set a tone that they didn't have the same offense they were going to have with their star tailback, who was a senior at that time. Well, they've got this 6'6" kid who's been recruited already for basketball. At that time, Jermaine Gresham out on the edge, and they hadn't thrown him the ball once. So they figured it out in the third and fourth quarter. Let's just throw it over the top every time to the same guy. And sure enough, they complete 2 or 3 of them, and Carter and others run up and hit him in the legs, and they just go bouncing off like it's a cartoon. And he scores 2 touchdowns, and they get pretty close. And we finally put Zach Wallace out on the edge and to try to knock some passes down, and that works. So they can't throw it to him every time. But it became difficult because all of a sudden, as a outside linebacker safety type who's closer to the box, when they start throwing the ball outside, I can't do anything about it. So it was a very helpless feeling whenever they started to figure out that he was that kind of guy and was eventually a D1 guy at OU and then in the NFL. That was tough to watch us go from in the lead in comfort to, I don't know if there's anything we can do about this guy.
Yeah, it was very precarious there towards the end. But then they score, they tie it up. On the offensive side, I know on the defensive side, and you're probably on the sideline watching the offense, about 5 minutes left, maybe 4 minutes left. What's going through your mind as you're watching the offense and one of your close friends, Carter, lead that offense, and you guys need to score?
Yeah, he and Zach Wallace, I just remember that. Lamar Jackson at running back too. It's just Lamar White, sorry. It was just so impressive to watch them march when they needed to march because we were in a really tight game. And we knew as a defense, we were going to get another shot one way or another to have to make our plays. But we needed some help from the offense to be in a better spot. So sure enough, they score. They've got one last drive and don't have much time. Their quarterback, who is a guy we knew well, or John with the whole game, he's got about 40 yards to throw it in the end zone, and he's got the biggest guy in 2 counties, standing there to catch it, but he doesn't throw it, and he runs out of bounds, and we all kind of look at each other like, did they just do that the last play of the game? He runs out of bounds. So that was really nice to watch our offense operate and go get that score that we needed there at the end of the game and set up the defense to do what it needed to do. To make the play to end it. And it all worked out well, and that led us into the next week going right back to Norman.
So were you on the field the following week for the extra points? Of course, they had Lawton Mack had one of the best kickers in the state at that time. Hadn't missed all year long. I hear that Billy had designed some things that you trying to get you close. That was kind of intriguing to know the inside. As you probably an edge rusher, how close were you? And could you tell that maybe you were being kind of a disruptor out there?
I think I was a little more of a decoy. I don't remember Billy designing a field goal block that certainly wasn't for me because I wasn't fast enough to get there. I think there were others that he designed that for. But I do remember I was on the field and I ran right behind the kicker as he kicked it. So I had a really good view. I think I got blocked by one or two guys, which maybe freed somebody else to make the kick go a little quicker. But I ran behind the kicker who it was a sophomore, but he was well known as one of the best kickers in the state. Ended up at Kansas. And I ran by him and looked up, and I'm thinking, that ball's going left. That's not going in. And sure enough, it goes left, and I see the refs signal no good, and I start screaming, and I said something I can't repeat to the kicker because I was right there, and then ran off. I just couldn't believe it. I mean, we got so lucky that, all those things had happened, and they score, and it's about to be tied. And it's kind of one of those details you just don't think of, even when you're watching football today, but the kicker just misses it. And the rest was history from there. But part of the lore of that story is that they got the ball back later and we had to stop them. So as much as that missed kick was a big deal, we ended up having to make another stop defensively because the offense got the ball back, couldn't really move it very well. And then defense had to really make the last set of plays to finish it.
Well, and that was a very electrifying offense, one of the weirdest offenses that you'd ever see, but they were fast, Eric.
They really were. It was odd, but it fit our defense almost perfectly. And so Brent talked about it in his interview. They ran this kind of funky speed sweep offense left and right. You see it all the time now with teams and spread offenses. They got guys running left and right before the snap. That was new back then, and they were doing it under center. So it kind of gave this different sort of deception to it. But it was perfect for our defense because we had so many people in that area, and we could say, you get that guy, you get that guy, you get that guy. So whenever they ran that stuff to my direction, it was my job just to basically tackle the guy that was in motion, whether he had the ball or not, for the most part. So that made it easy on me, and it was such a good assignment football designed by Billy for everybody to have a job. Everybody has one job, essentially, and Carter's kind of the guy in the back that's going to clean up anything extra, and that worked out well. I mean, we stopped them. They were a team that could not be stopped because most teams weren't smart enough to stop them, but we were. Especially with the coaching staff we had and the players we had that were smart enough to do their jobs as given. And it worked out great. They had really good players. They were fast. They had a big old huge tight end that I was kind of trying to deal with all night. It was way bigger and stronger than me, but they just never really could get much traction until toward the end of the game. And luckily we were able to hold them off.
Yeah, a lot of fun. I see you reliving it in your eyes, man. How beautiful that is. And, moving forward, kids, we dream about state championships, especially under Friday Night Lights. And I'd like to ask you, Eric, how did that accomplishment end up impacting you beyond high school, beyond football? Is that something that you think has helped you be successful in life?
No doubt. And I think a lot of it's just confidence because that experience, and given the year before what I saw with a group that was more talented, it was finally confirmation that if you set your mind to a goal and you really dedicate yourself to it, and that will come with some sacrifice of some social life or whatever, but if you really set your mind to something and work toward it and work harder than the people you're competing with, there's a way to be successful. And so that has stuck with me, no doubt, through college career, through law school, and now in practicing law, which is a very competitive endeavor every day. Just to be able to know, hey, there were guys that I went up against in high school that they were way bigger, way faster, way stronger, but we found a way somehow because we were dedicated, because we had worked really hard, because we had really pulled together as a team. So all those lessons that were learned and all those great experiences have certainly set the tone for me. And kind of the way I lead now, same way I was taught back in those years, 2002, 3, 4, 5. So it's left a mark on me, and for sure in terms of setting up, and even when I'm in a courtroom and there's people, front to back and some scary judge up there, I know I can do this because I've prepped and I've worked at it. And I've had some other experiences in life that were pretty difficult from a competitive standpoint, but I was able to get through them.
Yeah, Eric, that sounds a lot like your dad and what he represented when I was young. And I mean, he put his nose to the grindstone, whether he was on the YMCA basketball court. I've even seen him on a tennis court, I think, kicking some butt. But then, of course, becoming, what he became with the Supreme Court. What a beautiful thing to be able to come away with the strength and the courage to be able to every day show up and compete. Just show up and compete.
Yep, and that's a life lesson learned from way back in the day. So I can't thank the people I was around in that time enough because of those lessons we learned. And having grown up and seen other places that didn't have that kind of coaching and instruction and sort of camaraderie, we're just so lucky that we had it.
Yes, and talking about camaraderie, are you coming back in October when they have the 20-year reunion for you guys, hopefully?
I hope so. I think what I've understood is they scheduled it for a Thursday, which might be a game that Carter and I are coaching up at Edmond North. Carter's obviously the head coach up there. I'm just helping him here and there with whatever else he needs. But hopefully there will be a time that I can come back. We've had a lot of discussions with the Shawnee Football Hall of Fame of how to incorporate everybody. So one way or another, there will be a celebration that will be a good chance to see a lot of people that I haven't seen in 15 or 20 years. We had the 10-year celebration about, 10 years back, and there's some good pictures from that. But there's some other guys that I haven't seen either then or since. So I'm hoping whether it's October or December or something around that time, we'll find a way. We'll make it work.
Yeah, December in your basketball. You were a good basketball player, too. You had a lot of fun.
Yeah. High school was good for me athletically. That was, I played 1 year of college, and so that was enough. I needed to move on and become a professional in something else. But those are always good times and good memories for me.
Eric Combs, this is a good time and a good memory for me. Thank you very much for taking the time to share with us. I think it's important for our community to hear from you guys and to be able to relive some moments of glory back in the day. Thank you, Eric, very much.
Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate everything you do with documenting all that history. It's great, and I love that you're still at it and everything's going so well.
Thank you, Eric, and we'll see you again soon, I hope, my man. Great times. It's been 20 years since we've had a state championship. Guys, it's stories like we just heard from Eric Combs that I believe is why it's important that we do what we do. And it's not about just sports. It's about whatever the kids choose as extracurricular activities to be able to go out and be the best that they can be. Guys, another show gets wrapped and we get another good one. Now we come out of a Monday, and don't you feel more enthused today now to go face the day?
So excited. Yay.
It's about the same.
Hey Jay, play for me. Let's do some acting, like backstage acting. Give me something stronger than that.
Hell yeah, I'm ready.
That's better. And that's a Talk to People podcast this week. Remember to like, subscribe, ring the bell, any of those ways that you can receive the telecast. We'd love to hear from you. Your comments are always welcome, no matter how controversial. Get them up there. Maybe we'll address them with you. Maybe we won't. But remember, Shawnee, always, together, we're building community one season at a time. Good night, everybody. Good day, everybody.
Take it easy, guys. I'm excited.
Let's go.
Monday.